Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Woo! Welcome
Let's
back,
go.
traders. How are we doing? We have an
I wake up
absolute banger today going over AMC, GameStop, and IWM, the broader meme basket index. You already know how we like to start. We're going to go over the fear and greed index as well as the short interest because I want to keep you guys up to date on how squeezy these stocks actually are at the moment, right? What's the setup technically, and are there any fundamental catalysts that could get us over the edge, right? So on the fear and greed index, you have crypto currently sitting in extreme fear, guys, 12. And people say that you have to be very, very foolish to buy crypto right now, but I think it is an absolute steal, an opportunity, and the stock market sitting in fear with the war going on between Iran. However, right, IWM, this is the main meme basket or the index for small cap companies that we like to track in accordance with AMC, GameStop, Neo, right? And typically, or at least historically, when this thing is rocketed like it did back here and also back here, right? You have seen AMC, GameStop, and the rest of the small caps outperform the broader market. The broader market being the S&P 500, right? So super, super bullish setup on the macro. However, you are taking a little bit of a drawback. And we talked about this being a possibility, right? But you've established this bullish trend here, this channel, and then you broke down from it, and now you're finally finding a rejection fully. So I wanted to go over what the most likely possibility is here, and I do believe that the biggest stretch of the move down has already happened because you have a gap fill sitting here at 249.09, and I think it is very likely that you find a bounce off of that gap fill to fill your new gap sitting at 254.16. However, if it does not happen there, guys, there is a good opportunity here playing off of the 200-day EMA sitting at 241.99. And as we all know, you come to the 200, guys, or anywhere near it, and it is a very, very good opportunity to average down on a very pivotal index, right? You look at how it's reacted off of these touches. When you lose it big, right? But once you gain it, these pullbacks to the 200 are like gold, guys, and should be treated as such. Not financial advice, right? But still, I mean, even there, right? Pullback and boom. So that is what I have in accordance for IWM, which is not far off at all, guys. Is not far off at all. You're at least a 3.5% move down to the 200, and that's if you get there. So besides for that on IWM, you do have a very, very solid trend line that you broke down from, right? And that's a shame. But what I am watching here on the macro is you've now put in a touch of hidden bullish divergence. That is when you make a higher low on the charts, but you make a lower low on the RSI. And this is on the weekly, guys. So every time you see that you make hidden bullish divergence, two things are happening, right? Hidden bullish divergence means it's hidden, right? Shocker, surprise. But what's happening in hidden bullish divergence is the RSI is resetting to either the 50 line, which is often a confirmation point, right? If you're in a bullish trend, you'll bounce back at the 50 line before sending. Or it is resetting fully and giving you more breath, more air, right, to then turn and burn in the other direction and make another leg higher. Now, I do believe whether or not the higher high is at 249, right, at that gap fill, or it's down here for a double bottom, I do believe you're going to find a bounce here and confirm this hidden bullish divergence, which is great, right, for our macro thesis. Our macro thesis being you have now broken your horizontal resistance trend, right? Breaking it, retesting it, and springing. You are going to find, in my opinion, resistance at the trend line of the previous cycle top, right? 2021's top trend line brings you right around 320 to 330, right? Depending on where you tap this. So that is our thesis on IWM, how that plays into GameStop and Neo and AMC, right? It is because they find buying pressure off of this thing doing really, really good. So I'm excited to see that on the macro. AMC. There is so much to talk about on AMC, which is a nice breath of fresh air because there has been not a whole lot to talk about except for depression on this stock. But we're not going to start with the charts. We're going to start with the short interest, guys. Still really, really high at 23.33 on the stock. And honestly, not even bad to see that this is held strong and held high, even though there was a offering, right? You've introduced 100 million new shares into the float, at least I believe. You can quote me on that. However, guys, you've held high short interest. That is, in my opinion, kind of bullish, and that's showing that shorts are not exiting the stock yet, right? They're not exiting the play. And this is the first time I've seen almost ever where Robinhood has a higher overall buy than sell on AMC. I thought that was interesting, so I'd highlight that for you guys. All right. This is the real meat and potatoes of today's video, besides for GameStop, right? There's more to talk about there. But in the video, slap and subscribe before we get into this. Forgot to say that. Slap the freaking subscribe button because we are on the road to 2K, guys. If you've made it this far, what are you doing if you're not slapping that button? All right. Just being genuine here. AMC's news, I genuinely think, is good news. And a kind of savvy play. This is my kind of play as a business owner. I like to see this happen, right? You're taking lower interest debt and using it to pay off the higher interest debt. So basically, Adam Aron posted or tweeted on Twitter saying, AMC announced this afternoon receiving a commitment letter from Deutsche Bank to finance new AMC 10.5% debt due in 2031. If consummated, it would be used to pay off the 12.75 debt on our Odeon subsidiary, currently due 2027. So they are extending the note, right? Extending the longevity of the debt while also lowering the interest payments on it. Brilliant, right? Brilliant. Just have to say, I really like this move, and I do anticipate, right, as the interest rates begin to continue to come down, because I do believe they're going to come down aggressively once Kevin Walsh is put into the office at the Fed chair, right? I think more savvy plays like this, as money becomes more available, are going to occur. And I think that this aids AMC's battle, right, to find a bottom in this falling wedge. I really, really, really like this, and I hope that more things happen like this, because this is the real turnaround. This is what's going to spark AMC to begin to turn around as a company. As you see, currently, you're at the record low sentiment between retail shareholders. I can just say that now, right? And I think it's so fascinating that at the lows, things like this happens, guys. When everyone is sold out and everyone's saying that this thing is going to go bankrupt is when you have positive EBITDA, right? You have debt restructuring and you have the chart looking for a bottom here within this falling wedge. I do find that interesting. So overall, good news on Amy. And I wanted to cover this as well because although it's not something that I personally cover often. That's funny. I'm going to scroll away from that. AMC investors slam record dark pool trading surge on Friday. Off exchange hit 89.5%, right? A level investors called a new record with compared peers Cinemark at 38.86. This is just one of the many reasons, right, that we are fighting for market transparency, and you want to see AMC survive, in my opinion, because if something were to happen and you were able to get the SEC to actually look into that, I think that could be a huge win for retail investors. But AMC on the technical levels, right? We've been looking at the RSI in the weekly time frame for quite some time. And I said in the live stream the other day, while I was driving, you have only been at this level a handful of times, guys. And it is truly a unique opportunity, right? You zoom out on the RSI, look at the bottom of your screen, and you can see here you've tapped this level once, twice, and now a third time. And what I wanted to emphasize here was every single time, You have been at this level, guys. And this is where I start to get excited. You've been at this level and you found a bounce from oversold to above the weekly RSI band. And in case you guys are wondering, that is your yellow line here, right? That's your squiggly line, your Crayola crayon. Every time you found a bounce from oversold past this yellow line, the stock absolutely rips and tears in the other direction. And so you can see here, just an example, right? March of 2020. Let's just outline that example. And I want to scroll away from the chart because I want you to look at the RSI and I want you to look at the percentage gain up in this top left corner, because I don't want you to see the chart and know when it happened, right? But let's just hover over this. Look at that cross from being oversold in the weekly time frame to that next week after crossing the band. That's a 23% week. The prior week 14, and then the week after that 4, right? And then 49. And so when you scroll back up, that is this double bottom formation bounce out that you had from that previous bottom. Do the same thing here, right? You had a cross from being oversold on the RSI, and you had a 26% week. So it's now to the point where you had a oversold cross the RSI band, a 19% week, and a 7% week, and then a boom, boom candle, right? After you retest it, you are now beginning, hopefully, knock on wood, I hope, finding a bottom, or in the works of doing so as AMC continues to improve the fundamental situation in which it has and lives. As you can see here, RSI at the lowest of lows since 2020. And the RSI band really, really rocking down, guys. Like, it is going to be hard to continue to push this thing down in the RSI unless you go bankrupt. I mean, genuinely, we know that's not going to happen. So this becomes a huge opportunity at these levels, in my opinion, that this becomes like a bouncing ball. And I speak so passionately about this stock because I love the community. I think you guys are all, it reminds me very much so of how I myself got into trading. And I want you guys to win. I want the retail shareholders to win. So you see this thing rallying down as this begins to curl up. Eventually, one of them will cross. And if it happens to the upside, right, then a beautiful rally, in my opinion, is about to happen. So watching for that closely. This is another example, 2017, 26% move. Yeah, I mean, it's just good. It bodes well every single time it's happened. And what we're watching for here on AMC is a potential, right? Once you find your way out of this falling wedge, however long it takes, you have until about February of next year to break from it. But I do believe it can happen sooner than that. I am watching for a retest of your previous all-time low sitting at around, what is that, 205? And then a more macro move up to the previous all-time low of the previous cycle, right? Which is $10. And that is such a big macro level on AMC. As you can see, you rejected it here, rejected it, or bounced here, bounced here, bounced here, rejected it here, and then rejected it one more time. Getting back above that, guys, is what's going to flip your macro position to a bullish one. And I do genuinely believe that, because when you go to the daily here, above $10, apes, you have some crazy gap fills, right? You have a gap fill here sitting at $19. You have a gap fill here sitting at $43. So once you move past this all-time high or all-time low, right, you see how the stock moves in these levels, right? Very violently off of this once you cross it. So, or once you fail to hold it, right? Very violent price action. So I do believe that the best is yet to come on AMC. And I am excited to see us win if that is what's going to happen. But I do believe it will happen, just not sure when. Right, so that's what I got on AMC. Slap the subscribe button and let's get into GameStop, guys, because GameStop has so much going on. So make sure to stay the length of the video, because GameStop, guys, GameStop. I wanted to emphasize here, you are doing the dirty. And I say that because you have this previous trend line that you rejected, support, 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 and support. And you're holding that trend line currently as your macro all-time trend line. And then also what you did was exactly what we said you would do. So that's kind of cool, right? And that is you closed above $24, guys, on the weekly. That is such a big thing. And you close at the top of your candle. So what you need to see next week is you need to see a pushback in here into this channel from this trend line. This trend line is such an important technical landmark that you've been trading since May of 2024. And if you get back above it, guys, you are now ready to rally, in my opinion. You saw a beautiful close on GME. And I wanted to emphasize that here on Webull. Let's go into the Webull chart. The Webull chart. Such a freaking beautiful close, guys, because bam, right there it is. You have almost the golden cross. You've crossed your neckline. You've held it. This is such a sexy chart, guys. You've held the neckline of this double bottom. From doing so, you are above the 200-day EMA. You are above the 50-day EMA, and you are going to see, given, unless it's a crash on Monday, you are going to see a golden cross on GME. These two lines kissing for the first time since back in May of 2024 when you saw that squeeze move up 500%, right? So that is what we're watching for. Not a move like that particularly, right? But a big confirmation move that you are going to get that golden cross. And that is exciting stuff, guys, because you have traded in just famously chop. Like this is famously GameStop price action right here. So now what I'm watching for is a big rally to make a higher high. So to get back above $26, as you've made now one higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. Now you need a higher high. And that higher high, in my opinion, is going to take you to a key level, apes, is at $28. So if you're able to get that golden cross, hold it, get that daily MACD cross, hold it, right? You are going to see bulls and institutions spill into this thing. And it is so good to be back. One thing that I wanted to cover as well, and something that is going to mean the world, is if you can get this monthly MACD cross. As you can see here, every single time you've gotten that cross, guys, the bullish momentum that is followed is substantial, right? You have only gotten this cross, and this is a little tinfoil for you, but you've only gotten this cross when Roy and Kitty has come back. And I don't know if he's watching for this, if he's waiting for this, but you got that cross right here in 2024, and you got that cross right here in 2020, right? So to get that cross again would mean the world for this stock. That would mean to me that this trading range of $25 is finally done, and you may look to confirm acquisition. You may look to finally exit this price range and go into price exploration. And on the daily chart, right, you have multiple gaps to the upside, still sitting on that gap at $28.42, and then the other gap sitting at $30. So when you say that this stock is just a zombie stock, I do not see it. And I can speak so passionately all day about how I want you guys to win and how this stock fundamentally is changed. But genuinely, it's just going to come down to whether or not you can see this volume like you had in the last 2 days ramp up, right? You've had 2 days in a row of higher volume. You need one of these candles, right? You need one of these candles. You need big volume to send you above this big level, because you look at how you've been rejected here. Broke down, rejected. Broke above it, pop, right? Rejected. So 28 is probably the most important horizontal resistance, guys, because institutions and hedge funds know once you get above that level, there is no stopping you from getting to 30 to 35 to 40 to 45 to 50 to 55, right? This thing, when it runs, runs hard, right? You see it here. Held at 28, rejected. Above it, retest. Bam, right? In a blink of an eye. So I am so excited for you guys and for myself, to be honest. But it's going to be interesting to see how the next couple of days of price action can confirm whether or not you're going to see this broader rip in price, and very fascinating to see AMC and GameStop both outperform the broader market. It's not often you can say that. So let's look at one more thing, which is the GME warrants, guys. And then we're going to say our goodbyes. But the GME warrants still doing a whole lot of nothing, right? Trading within this price range. You did reject the 9-day EMA finally, which we thought would happen. And now you're kind of just floating in no man's land, right? You did have nice volume. However, I do still believe that the warrants may come down into this 360 level. Or if you're going to break out here, you're going to go back up to this $4.90 to $5 level to make your third higher high. Very similarly to GameStop, you're in this higher low, higher high situation, which is the best place to be, right? You are consecutively having bullish price action in which you're seeing a big ramp up in volume and then a ramp down in sellers, and a big ramp up in volume and a big ramp down in sellers. But you do still have this gap fill sitting at 20, I wish, $3.29, guys. So be very aware, be very cautious of that for the future here on the warrants. But besides that, guys, I just want to say genuinely from the bottom of my heart, thank you for everyone who's reached out. Thank you for everyone who has supported me. Even though we are not daily, I am trying to hit this channel as much as I can for you guys. So make sure to slap the subscribe button, donate if you can, buy merch if you can, and just wanted to remember, God bless each and every single one of your families. It's a crazy world right now. But remember, the best is yet to come, guys. God bless you. I love you all. And peace. It's a good video.